Hello, hi again. This is Matty G, the backyard chicken farmer. And it's time of the year we're going to start hatching some eggs. So I brought out my trusty incubator, and this is a do-it-yourself job. And a lot of questions I have from friends is how did you build it? Because of the fact that I've tried a lot of factory incubators and the smaller kind, just once hatching only a dozen eggs or half a dozen eggs at a time. And ran into a lot of problems, and the success rate wasn't that great, around 50 or 60%. This I have contributed. I think I've lost one or two fertilized eggs in the past 2 years. I've hatched about 100 or so chicks, and I've only lost two, and they were in like the 10th day in both of those. So I've got a really high success rate, I would think. And I contribute that to the fact that this is built so it's circulating airflow, and I'll show you how I put this together. And it regulates a constant temperature. So let me go over the things that you're going to need. This tub right here, it is a light tight or whatever it is from Walmart. You can find them at Walmart. I picked clear so you can see through it, obviously. The kids enjoy it too, and as they start hatching, you don't have to take the top off to go see them. You can actually see through the sides, and it's fairly good. That was good. Time for a new one, I think. It's not as clear as it used to be, but that's okay. They don't really run that high. I think I bought this for like $10, if that. Also, what you're going to need is a thermostat. Okay, this is the Incubator thermostat. And they run around, if you pick them up on Amazon, for about $17. They're not that expensive. They're cheap. They regulate the temperature within a degree, which I'm kind of fine with. I got it down to about half a degree because of the surface, because of this area, but it's fairly well, and you can recalibrate it as well. 2 extension cords, and I'll show you how this wiring is hooked up in a second. You're gonna need a computer fan. I just ripped this out of an old computer that I had, and I hooked it up because we're going to use 110 volt electricity. I hooked it up to a 9 volt converter, or 12 volt converter, I should say. You could probably look that up for a YouTube video on how to do that. It's fairly simple, the wiring. A light source, or heat source, I should say. This is a 75 watt bulb. You could use a 75. We're actually going to go this year to 100 watts, and the reason why is because it's a little higher temperature, and so it gets the temperature up a little faster. One thing I noticed around this cold time of year is that this is great for the summertime, but in the wintertime this room gets fairly cold and a little drafty, and this actually picks up. There's a lot of air coming in and out, so it's a high oxygen. That's pretty much where I think the high rate of success is. That doesn't get very stuffy in there, so that you got a high humidity. However, the air recirculates and heats fairly, so you get a high oxygen content, I believe. So that's what I kind of contribute the success of this for. So I'm going to go to 100 watts, get a little hotter, a little faster, so it'll heat up a little faster. And we're going to start putting this together. I think the one thing I got to show you is the egg churner that I built. Okay. Instead of opening up the top of it and turning the eggs by hand manual, especially when there's oils that come from your fingers, that's another thing I can contribute to, that blocks the surface pores of the egg. So I try not to touch them as much as possible. It pretty much stays closed unless I'm adding water, which is probably once a week. So this is a regular draw that I also picked up from Walmart, and I would do it at the same time. Once you pick your container up, pick up the draw and make sure the draw fits in there. It's almost a perfect fit with the other one. As long as it fits in there, it's fine. So this is a lot torn apart, but you get the idea. Is what I've done was I took this draw, which moves back and forth. Okay, I ripped off the sides and I put the sides on the side of the boxes, and I put these drill holes in there so I could put stakes in between, and that's there to hold the egg. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So you can see that right there. So if I put an egg in, like there, right? If I put an egg in, right? So when time to move the draw, I move the draw, and guess what? It moves the bottom of the egg back, forth, back, forth. Right? Obviously, you turn it 3 times a day, but it's great because it moves them all at once, and you don't have to open it up. And I'll show you how you connect that. So let me put the egg away before I break it. Okay, so, and these are just little stakes that I got. I think I got this at a hobby store. It was about 4 feet in length. It was just a couple bucks. And I have the holes in there, so like every fourth hole, oh geez, so every fourth hole I put it in. You get the idea. And it goes right in like that. Kind of snaps in for me. So I have places. I had about 2 dozen eggs in here. It fits. Obviously, if you're having different sizes for quail eggs and just regular chicken size eggs, obviously when you move it back and forth, the ratio is a little bit different. So you may get one spin more than the other. Okay, but I've had a pretty well success rate with this. The one thing you're going to need though is the key, which I'm going to give to you in a second. Let me move this. So how do I install this? Okay, I'll show you in a second. I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to put the egg turner in. Okay. I want to make sure I got the wiring in there correctly. So it's a fairly tight fit. You know, it doesn't have to be jamming. I move this to the side. This side here. There's the key. Okay. So this is the key I made. It's just aluminum wire, and it's just so I could pull the draw back and forth from the inside out. I'm trying not to do any editing to this video, so bear with me. I don't feel like doing it today. So I put a hole on the side here. I don't know if you can see that. A hole in the side here. Okay? And then a hole in the draw. And so I put this in through this hole, like that. And I move this jaw so I get to line up with the hole that I put in there. And sometimes it gets be a pain in the butt, but it looks like it's doing successfully here. Alright, so I crimp it in a little bit. Alright, so now I got the key. So that way, see if you can see my egg. So I put my egg in there. Okay, does that work? So now when I move my key, it moves the egg. Okay? Actually, I make it a little longer so I could push this, make the key a little longer so I could push it in a little far so it turns perfect. I had to set the quail eggs, I believe, last time. So there you go. It moves the jaw back and forth. Okay. Take the egg out so I don't break it. So the questions I get, how about the wiring? So the thermostat goes in. Okay, this is the front face. Put a little tape in there to cut off. I made a little crack in there by accident, but you know what? Duct tape works. Doesn't have to look great. It's a do-it-yourself jobber. I'm not really too worried about it. So here are your 2 extension cords. This is the main power right here. Okay, plugs into the wall. Okay, it comes through here. I'll move this to the side for a second. So here's the white wire, and basically what it's doing is just like it's extending to right here. Okay, this is basically the wire. So what you've done is you splice into it, right, and go to the main power source, which is here. Okay, and then I'll explain these wires in a second. But then the wires come out, okay, and they go to the green, and the green comes in here, and that's your heating source. That's what that thermostat is for, and it turns on this light. So we're going to plug in the heating source here, and we're good to go. Okay, this is live, which is always live, no matter whether the thermostat's on or not. And the reason why it's live is because I am going to install the fan. So let me move this around like this. So this is the way it looks. So here's your fan. Okay. I have little aluminum wire is awesome because it allows you to use it as a tool to hang things up. Okay. I usually take this to the outside actually and then bring it back in. Okay. But I crimp up the wire so it's not all over the place. So here's a source in here. If you want, you could plug this outside. It doesn't have to be inside if you're worried about the electricity. It's probably a good idea too, because when you're worried about water, when you're filling it up. Okay. 2 wires that hook into the thermostat. That's your reader. So I usually have that hanging right above the eggs is what I usually do. I want to make sure that temperature right above the eggs is that 98.5 or 98.8 or 98. Sorry, excuse me, 99.8, 99.5 degree temperature. Okay. That being said, one thing I do have here is, now what do you do with the water, right? So I put the water in the bottom here, and I was worried about this being in the water itself, the egg turner. So I just built this little wire, half-inch mesh that actually fits on the bottom. So I have to take everything out, obviously, to put it back in. And then when the chicks are ready to hatch, I take out the egg turner, okay? And then I put this on top here, okay? And then what I usually do, so now it's down below, like that. And what I usually do is, now the egg turner's out and I have enough room, and I take a rag and I put it in the water, because you're going to fill the water, the bottom of the water up. And then you want a little higher increased humidity around the 18th day, stop turning the eggs. So you put a rag on the bottom up to the top, and it acts like a wick. And that air circulates through and increases and picks up the humidity a little higher from the rag. And that's about it, except for the top. So the top is just what it is, just regular top. The only thing I did was I wanted to make sure that that light source is not radiating on top of the eggs. So you have to block it. So the way to do that was I just took a little box and I put tin foil inside so the radiating heat stays in here. So it will actually heat up. Now it's not hot enough to light cardboard on fire, actually, for paper. You're not going to get that hot of a temperature. But the light will be in here, so it keeps all that radiant heat in here, and the fan will blow it. Okay, well, actually, the fan's over here. So the fan will blow it out the heat and let it circulate. And it just slips right on over that light. And there you go. And you're just ready to plug it in. You can make that, obviously, that plug a little bit longer so it fits into your light socket, but I have an extension cord so it goes in. And that's it. If you have any questions, let me know.